Welcome to another edition of Toxic is the New Masculinity. To my left, I got my man KY, and to my right, I got my man Bossy. And we have special guests in the building. We got Miss Candace, and we got my man Earl. How you doing, man? How y'all doing?
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to Toxic is the New Masculinity. And we know a lot of times the title throws people off a lot of times. So, Candace walked in, fist was ball, she was ready to jab and everything else. We said, no, safe space. We ain't got to do that, okay? And the thing is that this is just a conversation generally amongst men and with our guests to let everybody know that the title that is always given to masculinity as toxic is not true. There are some people who operate in a form of a very masculine toxic masculinity, but that's not in its truest form of what masculinity is. And so when we have the conversation on toxic is the new masculinity, just understand it's just a play on words. But if it got your attention, I mean, it worked. So with that being said, again, welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys for coming out. And so Candace and Earl, you guys are married. Give us a little bit of how long you guys been married?
15 years this month on the 23rd of October.
15 years. And the funny thing about it, I'm gonna tell you something, KY. Most of the time when I ask couples how long they've been married, usually the man says it first. The stereotype is always the man getting in trouble because he don't remember. The man is usually on it. Yeah. I've usually had ladies like, Can't you kind of hesitated on me a little bit.
Oh, I know.
That was a test. She was looking at me like, go ahead and say it. So how long has it been?
That's what it was. So 15 years.
The thing is, he said it with a smile.
Oh, yeah.
You get those 15 years, he's going to do 15 years.
Yeah, that recognition, like, wait a minute.
We passed the 12 years of slave.
Oh.
we passed that.
Okay. Well, which one was the owner? Which one was
the slave?
Another show? That's cool.
You took the words out of my mouth.
That's cool.
Wow.
But the thing is that, and I know when you have married couples, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I think having those conversations of kind of not so much telling all the business, but just kind of pulling back the veil a little bit and being honest about it is where a lot of people need, because we always get this sugar-coated thing, especially when we deal with the church, right? And we go in there and it's like, oh, well, the Ruth and the Boaz and this and it's just like these candy-coated pictures that everything is going to work out, and that's generally a little different. And so we see that a lot of times, even if we were talking about status, inside the church, like divorce rate is high inside the church, and that's where the teaching is supposed to be and everything else. And so when we have just conversations about marriage, what would you, if you had to just kind of describe to the general public, what are like a key in just marriage in general? What would you have just sum it up? We're just gonna get it started like that.
Communication.
Yeah.
Communication is absolutely, in my mind, absolutely number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she's going to say selflessness, but definitely communication and being understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and not being so sensitive. I think it's probably, they're all kind of one and one.
Mm-hmm.
But when she says something, she has an issue with me, communicate with me. This, because we've been in relationships where, hey, what's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know something's wrong. Just tell me. Let's talk about it. Let's get it on the table so we can get past this.
Right.
Not just having open communication.
I'll add to the word communication, effective communication. Because many times we have unspoken expectations and we don't communicate effectively. It's the verbal cues, it's the not saying, the silence that causes us to have the tension in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think effective, and then being able to know what that means to each other. Like, what does effective look like for me versus what does effective look like for you? Because my definition could be different from yours.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so and I think, Bossy, we've had this conversation about being able to have words that are said from one to the other, but then misinterpreted coming back.
That's what I was going to add. Because I think a key component, probably I think the most paramount component in communication is the ability and the willingness to listen, not necessarily so much as speaking, because a lot of people, you guys know, when you talk to people, right, when you're speaking, most people are just eager to get their point across, so they're not effectively listening to what you're saying, and a lot of things get lost in translation. Like quite a bit, either they're not hearing what you're saying, or they're listening with their feelings and not necessarily listening with what you're saying. So how do you two manage that?
Well, one thing I try to do, honestly, is I try to not listen to respond, but listen to understand. Come to your point. I want to understand what she's saying, and so if I kind of take my mind off of trying to fix it before she even finishes what the issue actually is, because it's very easy for me as a guy who thinks I can, I'm a protector, and I want to. And she gets to telling me what's wrong. Oh, within 2 or 3 sentences, I got the answer to this one already. That was easy. We can get over this one now. But if I stop and take a step back and listen to understand exactly where she's coming from, then my responses generally will fit the actual issue.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is that, and I love how you piggyback and said effective communication, because we think a lot of times it's just words, and it's I put out a bunch of words, and we see that a lot of times, and I'm married 16 going on 17 years, right? And so one of my sayings is always, can you respond to the words I said, not the one you made up in your head, because I didn't say that, right? And so the thing is that when you have those communication points where that response is ready to come back so quick, and it's like, but did you actually process? And I just saw something online, and it said, when you're having a conversation with your spouse, ask them, so how did you receive that? They say it would help out so many conversations, because a lot of times we internalize some things, and all of a sudden it's coming back at a total different way.
Yeah.
One thing I always say to him is, and he hates when I do this, but I always like, and it's like, what did you hear me say? Like, what did you hear me say? I didn't say it, I'm like, that's not what I said. And so we put our own spin on it. We say what we think the other one, or what our own feelings make us feel at that time. And I'm like, that's not what I meant, and that's not what I said. He's like, well, but that's what I received.
Yeah.
So, that's a whole different way to look at it.
Yes, that's interesting that you said that, because I have a similar saying to you that you say. Like you guys heard me say, I usually say, with my wife when we're talking, I usually say, how does it kind of particularly, don't hear what I am not saying,
Yeah.
is what I say. I said, don't hear what I'm not saying. But interestingly enough, I just got to thinking about, because I have a similar retort with my wife when I'm talking to her. I say, what did you hear me say? And I think probably now, I mean, just listening to what T said about when you said, how did you receive it? I think maybe I'm going to change my language to say it that way, because I think when I say to her, what did you hear me say? I'm thinking it might come off condescending. And I'm just saying, so I'm going to try to change the language and see if that works.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me know how that works. let me know how that works. Because if it works for you, I'm going to try.
Yeah, if I'm missing the next two shows.
Well, tone matters. Tone actually matters. It's how you say it.
Yeah, and so, and it's funny. Now, let's get into that. When we talk about tone, right? And especially in relationships, there are some stuff, I don't care what tone you say it in, it ain't gonna matter. And so I'm always asking, does tone matter or does it not? Because I said it in the nicest tone possible, and then there was still the vitriol coming back, and the tone was correct. But what happened is it was those words that was with the tone, and that accountability part that usually has the problem.
I think that's the problem.
The accountability. Yeah. It's,
I don't know about that for me. I will say I don't care how I say it. The tone is always a thing that comes back. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. And I'm like, but no, you took it the wrong way. That's not what I meant. Even though, but it's always watch your tone, watch how you say it, what you say to me. So
yeah. Earl, Earl, that's on you, Earl. Because we having the people out, Earl. This is not a personal situation. We having the people out. So
I'm saying Earl is a very patient man.
He's very patient.
No, I mean, it's a lot of times with all people, but I think a lot of times with women, the emotion behind we're laid back, and both I can, the guys don't know you guys very well, but we're kind of laid back, and we can have a conversation. A lot of times the emotion comes into it, and then the tone changes, and that's when, to me, it's like it's not just a pepper; it's all the other stuff you put on the pepper. You don't
Say what you say. The
you know
hot sauce.
Yeah,
Go
it's the
ahead.
hot sauce. I always tell her like all the hot sauce, liquid hot sauce.
Yeah.
Let's just have a conversation. I didn't want hot sauce with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you may have an actual point, but because it had hot sauce on it, I don't even want to hear it. So
Yeah.
My system starts rejecting what you're even saying.
Yeah, and I think that does happen. And so with guys, now here's the thing: when we have a communication issue, we understand there's a level
Yes.
that we're gonna take it to,
Yes.
because there's a saying that says there's always a small threat of violence that can happen, right?
Right.
So there's a certain level.
And we understand what that is, generally speaking.
There's
Yeah.
a barrier not
There's
to
a
cross.
yeah, we don't go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because what can happen is a misunderstanding at a certain point can definitely get us to a point to where now this thing has trickled over from a conversation to an altercation. But I think in marriages, when you have a man and a woman, well, we know he's not going to that level. So the asking for the reduction of the hot sauce is like, yo, hey, because I can't be talked to on a certain level because I have certain things that go on in my head, and I have to always reel myself back in, because I'm like, wait a minute, who am I communicating with? And then when we have that conversation, who am I communicating with? Then our first thought is, well, she ain't thinking about who she was communicating with. Talk to me like I'm out on the street or something.
Right.
Yeah.
When we got married, we had some long conversations
Yeah.
before getting married, and one of the things we had some non-negotiables
Mhm.
in communications specifically, because of some of the things we both had been through in our past. And so one of them, I had a trigger. There was a trigger word. I was like, okay, listen, we're gonna be okay. We'll always be okay. But when this trigger word, I don't know. I just don't know. That's I don't know what's gonna happen after that. She used it one time. Then I don't even think she meant to use it. It just kind of happened in the course of it. And
I'll never use it again. And I've never used it again.
and that was like when we first got married.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago, and it wasn't physical. So hey, everybody who's looking at, she don't need to, it's all right.
Safe word.
But the response that just kind of came out of me just naturally, kind of innately, it was just because of all the other stuff.
Would you consider that? Would you consider that the word that was your trigger a form of disrespect?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Well, can I just? No, it'll be too much.
Okay. So here's the question I had about that, since we were talking about the respect and disrespect. All right. A lot of times ladies tell their men how they want to be loved, right? And the Bible says that women need to be loved and men need to be respected. So the question, have you ever had the conversation with what your respect level is? And Candace, have you ever asked, how can I respect you?
I don't think that I've directly asked, how can I respect you? But we definitely had the conversation about what respect looks like and what it doesn't look like. So I don't think I've ever asked him. I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
I don't think you have.
So I got to go around the table with that.
I actually think. I think that brings to the point that maybe that should be very important to explain in a relationship. Like, what is, because I know something for me. One of the most disrespectful things that, and I've had this through relation, is not to be listened to. And when I say not to be listened to, I don't mean it from the standpoint of when I say something, you do what I say. I literally mean, like, one thing I hate is repeating myself, right? I do. Or when if I say something to you, right? If we're engaged and we're talking, okay? And then at some point I've said something and you're like, what you say? But it's because you're on your phone or but the thing is, a lot of people don't respect whatever you feel is disrespectful. They measure it until what they think is disrespectful, which becomes more disrespectful. Like, because, well, I don't think listening is bad. So you're making too much of it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the opposite for us. Like, he's the type, he's on his phone. That's what he does. He's engaged. And I'm talking and I'm like, but you're not listening to me. And he's like, I can do more than one thing at a time. I hear exactly what you're saying. But for me, I'm like, it's not about respect for me. It's just for me. Like, are you listening to what I'm saying?
Are you in tune with
Are
what
you
I'm
in
saying?
tune? Are you in tune with it? But if your homeboy call you, then it's a whole different situation. So it's like, are you listening to me? What are you giving me back? And so
Yeah.
But that's not his definition of respect.
And so with that being said, because I do want to go around the table. If the question was asked, what does respect look like to you, Earl? What would you say?
That's loaded. What does it look like to me? I think it's understanding who I am. You know who I am, so you say different things, and we had a situation. I don't want to go deep into our woods, but we had a situation. I'm a cigar guy, so I was at the cigar lounge, and the lounge had closed, and me and my homeboy were sat outside and talked for another hour or whatever. But my GPS location said I left the location, although I just left the building and went to the parking lot. And so she was like, "Oh, I mean, like, but you know me, like, why are we having that conversation?" So that was an instance that she got upset. And it was to me, it was disrespect. 'Cause, like, I'm not that dude. That's just not. That's of all the guys that I could be. That's not the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just understanding just know who I am. Just know me.
Okay. So understanding, and basically what I'm hearing you say is, give me the benefit of the doubt based on the character I've shown you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Why? What's respect look like to you? Because every man is different.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think ladies need to have the conversation with their man. What does respect look like to you? So what does respect look like to you? And why you thinking? Let me say this. Why you thinking? Let me say this. This is a question that's so important to men, but most men have never taken the time to think about. You go ask a woman, how you want me to love? She's going to run down the list.
Yeah.
Now, because that's her important thing. So the question as we go around the table, why haven't we thought about it when we demand it so much?
I think for me,
Yeah.
Simply kind of piggyback on know who I am. Don't put nothing on me. You always say don't put a jacket on me that don't fit. So understand who I am. First of all, because don't let your feelings and emotions overrun my respect. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. To the point you were saying earlier, why men don't express it, I don't know, but I'm gonna take a stab at the theory, right? Generally, men, whether they get it right, wrong, or indifferent, they are conditioned to cater to. And our perspective, like you said earlier, we have a level we don't cross. So it's like we generally don't have to tell each other what that respect is. Because, the barbershops, you with your cigar line, that's our safe space where the rules have already been set decades before we even stepped on the scene, right? So I it could be the fact that in that arena, male, female, right, we generally aren't given the platform for that. I don't think I've ever had a woman ask me, except for my wife, I don't think I've ever had a woman ask me, what does respect look like to you? Now she will tell me how to love her. She would tell me what her love language is. She would tell me like certain things she likes, what she don't like, and this, that, and the other. And me, for the most part, I'm really receptive to that. But I really think about, okay, well, what about me?
Yeah. Do you guys in your relationship, Earl? Do you find yourself in that space where you're saying, "What about me?" Because and that's no knock on your wife, but as men, we have these things where it's like, I'm giving. And short story, a buddy of mine was going to take a trip to Houston. He had to go pick up something from a buddy and turn around, come right back. His wife said, "Can I go?" He said, "No, because I want to be inconsiderate today." And she said, "What do you mean?" He said, "If you go, I want the windows down. You want the windows up. Where do you think the windows going to be?" He said, "I want to jam NWA all the way down there. You don't." He said, "I want to grab something to eat and keep going. You want to sit down. What do you think we're going to do?" He said, "So I want to go be inconsiderate of everybody except for me, because I can never do that here." So is that something that you've ever just had? It was like, okay, I need a little attention here, because it's not a bad thing for a man to ask for attention.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I have asked for it. And that's interesting that you said that, man, because so Candace and I, this is my second marriage. I was married before. But I got married really, really young. And we were married for a while. But when that didn't work out and we divorced, like a lot of things I didn't even know for myself. Like I didn't know what my favorite color was. Like because I always catered to what, I didn't know what foods or what restaurants we were going to go to. It was whatever she wanted to do. What color we gonna paint the walls? Well, whatever color she wants to paint the walls. And so it took. I had a kind of a moment or a little while of kind of understanding who I was. So to your point, yeah, absolutely. And now that I know, I can tell her like, yeah, I know what I want to eat. Yeah, you know what I mean. I know what that looks like now.
50. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I want to try. I just been listening.
Yeah,
I know y'all probably what's wrong with me, but I just been listening, and I heard the word tone, and I heard the word respect, how the word is spit out, and I've learned this in a lot of parts of my life is what do I expect with the way I give it to you? If I'm yelling at you, do I expect you to say, "Oh, honey, what's going on?" That's not going to be received that way. So, I'm big now. Pay attention to your feelings. Pay attention to your emotions because are they real? Because I say this, well, what are you talking about? So I would say this like, my actions may not line up with your feelings. So first of all, your feelings are real. I acknowledge that. But let's find out what my intentions were. Now, if they match up with what your feelings are, okay, absolutely, we spot on. But my intentions could be, no, that was not my intentions.
You know what? And that makes sense. And so we have a comment here, and I want to go into a question with this. It said, women have to understand that happy wife is not truly happy life. It should be happy house, happy spouse, because both of you are meant to be happy, not just one. So,
and it's not a reciprocation. I'm happy, then I'll make you happy. That's
true.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, at any point in your life, Candace, have you thought of the term happy wife, happy life? Is that something that ever had to be eradicated out of your thought process? Or if you still look at it today, Earl ain't happy if I ain't happy.
No. That's his coin. Actually, he says that more than I say. Happy life, happy wife. But I think we have come to a happy medium. My favorite word is compromise. How can we compromise? What can I do to meet you halfway? Now he always says, no, it's all about what you want. And I always say, no, babe, it's about what you want. Bring it to the table. But he will acquiesce and step back and say, well, I want you to be happy. And I'm like, well, we both need to be happy. We have 5 kids. We came to the table. I had 2, he had 2, we have 1 together. So we're a blended family. There is so much compromise that has to take place. And many times he will say, well, I just want you to be happy, right? But at the same token, I'm like, okay, tell me what you want. How can I make you happy? But it's not the coin. I think the real issue is it's not all about what's happiness. It's about unconditional love. Because at the end of the day, I can't love you based on a condition of a thing that you want or how our life is happening at the time. I have to love you through that. So
what does compromise look like? Because I hear people say that all the time. I call compromise a continuous tug of war. But go ahead.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's just take something really simple. It's like where we want to eat tonight. So he will always say, "Babe, whatever you want," and I'm like, "No, whatever. What do you want?" And we'll go through that continual thing until somebody goes in and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not choosing tonight. You need to choose." And he's like, well, see, I can go anywhere. Wherever you go, I can find something to eat.
So I'm going to give you something. I call this chunk of rock.
Yeah.
So once I chunk the rock, now a decision is in motion. Because the tug of war is, I'm compromised. I'll compromise. What do you want? What you want? No, you know what? Earl say, I want to eat hamburger. I don't want to eat hamburgers.
And that's the reason why I said, let me know what you want.
So, but I call it a chunk of rock because now we got something. So you understand what the continuous compromise is, a continuous tug of war because you're going back and forth. Now frustration sets in because, look, I'm trying to compromise with you. She's saying, I'm trying to compromise with you. When somebody can say, you know what, Chinese food, no, not that. So now something started. But we will stick with that tug of war until we get mad.
Or bow out gracefully.
Yeah.
I want to know from Earl, where does that mindset come from when and I understand we talk about food and things like that, but just in general, where it's like, no, whatever you want, it's you get your way, whatever. Where do you think that mindset was? That teaching, or was that just
Man, honestly, man, I think it goes along with that happy wife, happy life statement. And it's just a conditioning almost that we're okay with. If I don't make you happy, and nobody can be happy. So what do you want to eat, or what do you want? We don't go with that because I don't want to go and say I want a burger. And you say, okay, well, cool, and we go to the burger joint, and you just sitting, I don't want anything. You know what I mean? So not that that's not my baby, but I'm saying just in general. And so I think it just comes from conditioning from previous relationships and just life, the way things, the way we're kind of taught through life.
I would have to agree with that.
And you know what? And this is me. If I want burgers and we go to burgers and I sit there, you'll eat nothing, I'm gonna eat that burger because
you have a choice.
You have a choice. But Keith says something all the time about rewarding bad behavior, right? And we talk about communication. We started off communication. When we need to be able to say what it is. Now, if you say, listen, I ain't in the mood for Mexican food, babe, whatever else you want, because the moment he named Mexican food, you was like, we had it at work today and I'm tired of it. Like, communicate effectively to the point to where now I'm not like, oh man, now I'm kind of fishing and searching or whatever the case may be. And what happens is we won't go get the hamburger we want, because now we are rewarding this pouting behavior. Or, well, I don't like hamburgers. I was like, well, I asked you before, right? And I think that's where we need to get into. It's where you have to start to say,
but why not say, well, and I go a little deep. I dive deep on you. I was like, well, what made you just say okay? I mean, what made you feel like that was the best thing to do? Right. And because you got to ask yourself, why would you even say that if that's not what you want to do? Right. So what say is it? I always say give each other a safe space. And that, right.
His mindset is like, oh, I'm just going to take a step back because I don't want to cause a confrontation. So it's like, pick your battle. Like, it's having an argument about food important?
I got to ask you this. Why do you think an argument would be started?
Because if I continue to say, oh, I don't want this, and you say you don't want this, so it's like you say, it's just continually back and forth. So somebody has to make up the mind and say, you make the decision. Right. I don't want to make the decision. And I'm going to go with what you say regardless. But most of the time, he's like, I want you to make the decision when it comes to food. We're just talking about food.
Yeah.
So he's like, I just want you to make the decision because I want you to be happy because I can eat anywhere. And I'm like, well, I can eat anywhere. He's like, no, you can't. Because you're going to go and you're going to complain. You want a salad. You want this. You want that.
Okay, I'm asking, is it true? I'm gonna go with you. So,
but I won't complain. Like, I will find something on the menu to eat.
I'm gonna pause you right there.
Okay.
So you see the narrative you created for him.
Yeah.
The space is out. You just created something. I've been down this road, and every time I go down this road, I hit this pothole.
Right.
Nothing said this hole has been fixed. So I'm gonna say I'm not driving down that road no more.
Right.
As a man, I'm not driving because I've experienced that. So you understand. So now in his mind, it's like, hey, what do you want to eat? So this will be simple. And you're saying to him, you're giving him false hope. And after a while, man, when we get up on that false hope, we like, man, I'm not playing with that no more.
Hey, here it is. Earl, here's a trick. It works all the time. Okay. Babe, guess what I was thinking about eating today? So. Yep. As long as you make it like they thought of it, it works every time.
Oh
hey
gosh.
Man, listen, if it could be something simple like, she said, what do you want to eat? Oh, you know what I was thinking? She'll say Chick-fil-A. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I love it.
Did she say what?
Huh? No, guess.
Oh, okay.
Once you say guess, she's gonna tell you whatever is right there, and you say, cool. And so what that mindset comes from is that a lot of times men get into this situation to where we feel that if it's our ideal, it ain't gonna be good, right? Because there's a skit online that they've been doing where the lady picks up a fruit, put it in the basket. The man When she looks away, he picks the same fruit up. He said, "Hey, what about this one?" She was like, "No, that's no good." She picks another one, put in the basket. He grabs the same fruit out the basket. Every time he grabs the same fruit she grabs, she said, "That's not good." So it's a joke, but there's some truth in that to where it's like, yo, wait a minute. I picked up the same fruit you picked up. But because it was my idea, it's almost like it wasn't good enough. And that's when that false hope, because if it's my idea, then maybe it's not good enough. So it'll be easy for me to allow you to make the decision.
Well, that's been passive aggressive.
Well, I think before the passive aggressive point, I think what was said earlier was there is a conditioning aspect of it too, because generally, when we give a woman carte blanche to pick and choose, what we are basically saying is, I don't care what we do, I want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we're saying. And
it don't matter.
Right. And a lot of times, our experiences are, her thing is not necessarily I want to be with you, cool, but I want to see like how you're going to treat me, how far you're going to go. Mm-hmm. We don't want to fail that test. That's why we're generally like, yeah, I don't care what we do. I just want to be with you.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to go, I just want to be with you.
Yeah.
And I do hear some women say, well, I want a man to make the decision. I did. I made the decision. I want to be with you.
That was my decision.
That's my decision. I want to be wherever you are is where I want to be. You know?
And so earlier, Candace, you mentioned a word I wanted to get into, and it was unconditional love, right? Do you believe in unconditional love? Okay, Earl, do you believe in unconditional love?
I believe in it, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because let me help a boy out. There's a reality and a logicalness to his answer. And so it's because you asked me, I told my wife, I was like, I don't know if you can have unconditional love for anybody that's not your lineage, above you or below you. I don't there's always going to be a condition. First of all, my wife married me under conditions. I had a job. I was handsome. I knew how to talk. There was conditions. Let her have got me, and I said, you know what? I don't think this working thing ain't working out for me no more. All of a sudden, how much you love me? How deep is your love? Would have been the question. No, because there were conditions. Your kid can go out and murder 40 people. That's my baby. That's my baby. So what is your definition of unconditional love?
Behind that, it don't go like that, homie. It don't go like that. I tell you a story about that.
What is your definition of unconditional love?
Work out for that dude that shot Charlie Clark. His pop turned him in real quick.
You gotta ride or die, homie.
Hey, wait. His pop turned him in. If that had been his daughter, I guarantee it'd been a different story. So unconditional love for you, Candace.
I feel like for me, I think I'm daily bringing it back to what can I do for him without it being tied to anything. Like, of course, we didn't start off that way. There definitely I had a line, a list, a laundry list actually of things. Oh, this is what I want. But as we continue to be married, I just started saying to myself, I want to be selfless. Like he said at the beginning, that's my word. That's why I always try to think about him before I think about myself. And then if things don't happen the way I want to, can I still love you through that? If it doesn't, if my bank account is not the figures that I want, am I going to still love you through that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all the physical things that come with it, all the mental things that come with it. Like my mindset and how I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, how can I love him without comparing him or criticizing or complaining about all these different things?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm going with unconditional love, like loving you limitless, trying to not put myself put him in a box and say you got to be this, and that.
But I was going to say to your point, unconditional love does exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, unconditional love generally means the love I'm willing to receive from the person unconditionally. I don't want to give it. That's generally because a lot of times, unfortunately, love, and it shouldn't be, is a selfless act. You know, I said this on my show once before. Generally, the people's idea of love is what you can do for me.
Right.
When love is not that.
Right.
Love is
That's
I
real
care
talk.
about you so much, I'm willing to sacrifice for you.
Yeah.
And generally, people just come in. You ask anybody. You go out right now. You take a poll right now. Say somebody, what do you want in a relationship, or what is a relationship like? It'll be, I want, they need, that shit, they should. It's all about me.
Yeah.
Well, funny thing you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Candace said she had a laundry list. What was your laundry list, Earl? You didn't have one. No, ain't
Well, you know what? And I would say this because I was married before. I did have a sticky note. I had one or two things on there, right?
What's that one?
But because I was married before, I did have a few things that were kind of really important.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that was the crucial conversations that we had before we got married. Like, okay, listen, I can't do ABC. That's it. I only had 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, we good.
Listen, I was literally, when you said you had 3 things, I was every man. 3 but 3. We got the 3 F's. We got find, food, and faith. Keep your dirty minds. That's what.
So the funny thing, and you guys all jump in if you need to, is I believe that we have gotten to a situation where we have a lot of time inverted this role, right? And when we talk about being a helpmate, right? Men looking for a helpmate, and so now, the person who is in charge of this ship, who is head of this household, needs to be able to bring somebody in that can help guide this whole mission. And we have a sticky note, and the helper has a laundry list. I think we are a little bit out of order in this and how we're thinking, because the thing is that, think about this. When a company is hiring, they put a sign and say help wanted, right? Mm-hmm. When somebody comes in, that person comes in and says, hey, here's my skill set. Now, what does this company offer and okay, cool. Right. Well, now it's like people are coming in to the sign of help wanted saying, listen, it gotta be this. And the company's like, well, can you just show up on time? Right. You can do that. I guess we'll be all right. And so I think we have to put more of a emphasis if we are going to be the leads and the head of the household, to say, no, listen, here are my requirements. But all the men around me I want to ask a question. Do you feel that you have really been ever given the room to have requirements as a man? Not saying that you won't take them, given the room to have requirements.
Man, you know what? I don't even know if I asked for any requirements. I probably, in my head, I did, but just verbally come out and give a requirement. I haven't done that.
Bossy, have you felt you had room?
But the room. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
The room part. Yeah, I've had room.
You had room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Prior to my wife, no. Generally, my requirements on the other end were reduced to like sexual pleasure and presence. That was pretty much it. Basically, I was never asked. The assumption was, as long as I look good and do this, that's all any man needs, which is obviously not true.
And we know Candace gave you all the rooms in the world, but before Candace, have you felt you had the room to be able to express your desires, your wishes, your requirements?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I can't think of a time that you just feel like, I think we're just conditioned to feel like, hey man, it's just my job is to work, take care of these 2 or 3 things, and then, like you said, she had her laundry. I have to. But that's our job. Once we do our job, okay, cool.
So there's 8 billion people in the world. At least half of them are women. So there's 4 billion out there, and Candace gonna speak for all of them.
Uh-oh.
I'm just messing
Watch
with
your body
you.
language. Watch your body language.
I'm just messing
I
with you.
didn't see that coming.
I'm just messing with
You're in there,
you.
boy.
So here's the question I'm asking, Candace. Why, in general, you can't speak for everybody, but in general, why do you think that men, when we're dealing with ladies, haven't been given that room to be able to have requirements and standards?
There are several ways to look at it. I'll start with most of it is it's what you've learned. It's like it's a learned behavior. It's what my mama did, what generational, and you watch people and you say, okay, this is how my mom treated my dad, or these are the relationships that I've witnessed and I've seen, and so no one ever taught that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's one thing. The other thing is just being selfish, just plain out selfish. I want what I want, and most people are that way. No matter what the gender is, male or female, it's about me. And so most people go in. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what's gonna make me happy. And once you fulfill those things, then I'll think about what makes you happy. It's what do you call it? It's always
self-preservation.
Yeah.
And I like how we were breaking this conversation down between the men and women, and Candace said most people. She didn't say most women. That protection of the girl group is real. I caught that.
Come on, lady.
I caught that.
But I wanted something she said is big. Is like when we growing up, how many people sitting here, parents say, if that person don't like you, if they not your friend, you don't need to be their friend.
Oh yeah.
Our parents never taught us how to reconcile.
No.
Did your parents ever have to teach you how to be selfish? Did you have to teach your kids when they say, hey, you know what, this is my toy? How many times a kid can't even talk and go over there and snatch a toy?
Absolutely.
So it's a I can't get it. Can't you say it?
Simple?
Man? No, sensible.
Oh, sinful.
Sinful. Yeah,
Okay.
sinful nature in us to be selfish. Now here's the problem, is being aware of that. See, our awareness on our side, which what we call accountability. Are you aware of this? Right now I'm being pretty selfish right now. And am I man or woman enough to say, you know what? I need to slow this train down.
And that in fact is 100% right. That in fact is a problem with relationships. Right?
Yeah.
That's what the difference is when you were talking about love and unconditional love and how you feel with your kids. It's vastly different. Because there's a level, I don't know if trust is the word, but there's a level of commitment that you have with your child, right? Because I guess there's a blood relation there, and with the spouse, right?
Oh man,
there seems to be always there seems to be some type of competition for control on both sides. You know what I mean? Which you never will have with your kid. It's already established who's in charge. But in marriage, unfortunately,
the Bible kind of does an establishment too.
Yeah.
Sinful nature won't allow us to just deal with this.
Yeah.
That's
because it's all about me. It's me. But
right.
Who everybody say, I want a blessing. How many people raise their hand to be a sacrifice?
Yeah.
And that's being a blessing for somebody. If I sacrifice my time, if I sacrifice what I want to do. But I'm just saying, how many people raise their hand for that? Everybody wants the blessing, but they don't want to be the blesser.
Everybody wants the recipient to be and put it in love statement. Everybody wants to have the benefits of love. They don't want to have the sacrifice.
Right.
And then sacrifice a lot of times, and especially inside of a marriage, we get to the submission part, right? And so I got to ask, Candace, when we talk about submission, was that something that was natural for you when you found the guy that you knew Earl was the guy? Was that easy, or did you still have to? That's something you had to work on.
I mean, I'm 100% transparent. Submission is difficult because it's another thing. It's dying to yourself. It's like I have to put my ego aside and listen and be led. It is, because if I was an independent woman, honestly. Before I met my husband, I was by myself. I made my own money. I did my own, the whole song. That was me.
See, now I got a hard sense, but keep going. I'll speak on it.
but it wasn't something I was taught.
Right.
Because
I
like
get it.
with my mom, when she, honestly, this is so, God bless her soul. She rest her soul. She's gone. But when I was there when she married my stepdad, and they stopped the ceremony when he said that she had to vow that she was going to submit to him. And seriously, and the preacher stopped and he said, we can't go any further unless you say that you're going to submit.
So what is submit? When that word comes across, how does that make you feel?
Now, then, before I ever had any understanding of what submission was to my husband. Now I understand. Before that, it was like, okay, in my mind, it's like, well, you control everything that I do. I'm a puppet. I don't get a choice. I don't get to do anything. I have to do whatever you tell me to do.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what every woman thinks. It's not taught, because submission doesn't mean I'm ruling over you.
Right.
Submission is are you submitting? Are you willing to love me? Are you willing to trust me together? I have this thing, we talked about it before on the show. And like, if this is a business and you two got to run this business, one of y'all may open it up, one of y'all may close. But when it starts to shift, and when y'all stop focusing on the business and Earl started saying, well, you open up late. You said, Earl, you didn't cut the alarm on. Then you started forgetting about the business, and it becomes about y'all two. And the business is being the marriage. And that happens so much because all of a sudden, we're here to love and serve the Lord. It's not about us. I don't know if y'all Christians. I may have went too far.
Absolutely.
9,000%.
Yeah. 2 quick points about submission. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll be quick. Because I knew this subject was going to come up, so I had to keep in mind when you guys were talking about where you want to go. I'm going to make a complex situation very simple. That's submission. Submission basically is, ladies, if you're listening, submission, the way the Bible wrote it, is at some point there's going to be a difference of opinion. And when there's a difference of opinion, your submission is willing to trust your choice in your husband to make the decision. That's basically what submission is.
Yeah.
You know, you're not lower than, you're on his level. You're not lower belief and fear. And unfortunately, submission, just because authority is synonymous or similar to superiority, they're not the same.
Right.
Superiority doesn't require any responsibility. Authority does. And that's the difference.
Boss, you know, you made me think of something. When we coached football together, and I was a head coach, and I had a big coaching staff, and it was crazy. I included these guys and everything, but I absolutely had to make when the ref came, they came to talk to me. Yeah. When there's anything that had to do with team, it had to come to me. But they were in a submissive role as men. But I trusted them. It's been time. Hey man, what we gonna do? Well, how y'all feel? I trusted them, but I didn't. You know, it wasn't a dictatorship, and it's just probably, you know, there's a man to submit and a woman can't submit.
But to that point, like you said on that staff, right? You included us, but we ultimately knew that no matter what the choices we made, you were responsible.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a submission inside of the marriage, and we understand. So Earl, you have the headship. You know. How do you include Candace inside of the decision making, even though we know if there is a difference of opinion? How do you do that so that she feels included into the decisions and everything else to be able to move forward?
Absolutely talk about everything. I mean, everything's on the table. If it's going to affect our house, we're going to talk. Even if it doesn't, I mean, because if it affects me, it's going to affect her. So we talk about, you know, everything, bills, meals, and everything in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way that she's doing. I don't want to, she's a brilliant woman. And what better for, you know, a leader than to have someone by his side that can help lead. We can do this together.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But that we put our heads together. Oh, that's awesome. Or, you know, how'd you come up with that?
You know what I mean? And I think the thing is and Candace, as you said, that's something you had to work on, right? Because you're giving up that control. And I also say, you know, when we talk about submission and we talk about protection from the man, you know, I always say you can't protect what you have no control over, right? The president of the United States, at any given time, they have the Secret Service. Yep. The president is the most powerful.
Right.
The president can't go left if the Secret Service say we're going right. Correct. The president has to give up all of the power for the protection. Now, what they say is, we will look to see if we can plot a course left. But if there's no safe way doing that, you're under my protection and we're going right? And the problem or the thing that I see a lot of times, and I understand it from the woman's perspective. Sometimes you see Earl going down a way and you're like, babe, that's not the way. But Earl still has to work it out in his own way. Your voice is important because even if he doesn't move or doesn't turn course, he hears it. So you have to speak and speak in a way you know he can receive it. And I promise you tell me if I'm right or not. Even if you say, but I got to see, you still hear. Yeah. How do you take that in your decision-making process?
I take it now. I don't always listen to it.
Mhm.
Just being honest, but it matters. It matters a whole lot. Like I said, she it's not like she's not a smart woman.
Mhm.
She's a very smart woman. So it's easy sometimes to hear her voice and be like, okay, all right, cool. But there are times that I hear her say what she says, and I'm like, I hear you, but you don't understand. Like you don't see it like I see it.
Yeah.
We're still, you just have a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying, but we're gonna still go right.
And before Candace jump in, because she want to say something, I see it on her face. but what I want to correct your words, if I may, and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
You said I don't always listen to it. I believe you listen to it. You still have to.
Correct.
You still have to go in the way that you see you're processing information. I hear you. I'm listening, but I see something because there's a responsibility on your head.
Yeah.
And the thing is that and I told my wife this, if I go with the way you say go and it fall down, I'm going to still take the responsibility.
You have to.
I got a question on that. When he does go and it's the wrong way, what's your honest opinion? What's the thought in your head?
He knows me. My favorite saying is go with God. If that's what you hear God saying for you to do, that's what you need to do.
Okay, I'm restricted.
But
When you said, babe, I think we need to go right. Earl turns left, and Earl figures out, man, I should have went right. What's the thought in your head?
that's a setup. That's an absolute setup.
But I'm gonna give you something. It's okay. Give me.
Sure they go with I'm sure there's a phrase
not.
God is in it, but it ain't go with God.
Why didn't you listen to what I said? But,
So
we had to go the long route to get there.
So why can you be a cheerleader then? Because that's being submissive and support. That's the support we look for. Why couldn't you be a cheerleader, baby? Don't worry about it.
I've done that a million times.
Okay, but I'm just saying. I'm saying.
I'm just saying there are some times where I am the cheerleader. Now I'm not always the Debbie Downer, but if you go down this course a couple times and there's a lesson that needs to be learned somewhere.
So whoa! You just said it's a lesson need to be learned. Let me ask you this: if you turn right and Earl said go left,
okay,
what would you expect Earl to do? You want to do the same thing? Because I wouldn't want nobody to say, "Man, I told you so."
I never verbalize and say I told you so. You asked me what was I thinking.
Okay.
So I told you what I was thinking.
Okay. No.
I told you what was in my mind.
Okay.
Now, I never verbalized and say this, and that.
I got you.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just showing you. But what grows that seed you plant,
You're right.
it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, we say I just thought that, but we just said tone, body language, and all that.
Yeah.
So even though you think that's planted in your head, somewhere
It's showing.
It's showing.
It's showing.
But believe me, it goes both ways.
Right. I know.
You may think you're gonna have those thoughts in your head as well. You're gonna be like, okay, now if you would listen when I told you, you wouldn't have to go down this road again. Now you may not verbalize it, but you did think it. So I'm just saying, that human side is there.
I'm finna get y'all. I'm done for the night.
Okay.
So I got this saying: go vertical before you go horizontal. How many times did God tell you go someplace you didn't go the right way?
Listen, you are in there. I am not.
And that's for both of y'all,
you.
not just you. I'm not pointing the finger. That's both. So
That don't make God much happier either.
But I mean, but he still gives us mercy and grace. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I always go vertical before you go horizontal, and then it'll soften the landings. All right.
Yeah, and so I think the thing is that when we have these conversations and we're understanding the differences of how the mind thinks and really just how our makeup is, we see it differently sometimes. And I think we have to understand that's the thing. We're going to see it differently. And I think as long as the intentionality is to make it right. I often tell people when they say, "Oh man, are you happily?" I hear people say, "I'm happily married," and I said, "I never tell people I'm happily married. I'm not happily married. I'm intentionally married. Happy can change. So if you ask me on the day, my wife done got on my nerves. I'm happily married. I don't like her right now. but my intentions don't change based on my emotions. So I would never put emotion in front of a description of my marriage. So I'm not happily married because I can be madly mad, upset. No, I'm intentional, and intentions stay the same no matter what my emotions do. So
say marriage is a choice.
Yeah. And as we get ready to wrap up and close, and I know we've talked about a lot of different subjects. If there's anything that you guys wanted to kind of leave with the public, just so they can kind of have more of an understanding on when they get ready to go down this marriage walk, what they need to look forward to.
Because it ain't for the faint of heart.
It ain't for the faint of heart.
That's one thing I say for sure. It's definitely not easy, but what I missed earlier on, and when you asked the question, keeping God first is absolutely paramount. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. God first, and then us, and then everything else will work out. But if we just keep God first in all you do,
absolutely,
that will make life itself, even for the single person, that'll make life itself so much simpler. So much simpler.
Simpler. I love it. Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say. Marriage is hard work. It's not. Our daughter, we have, like I said, 5 kids, but the middle one, she's 23. She just got married in July, and what we sat down to tell them, like, listen, this is not something, it's not a fad. It's not something everyone in our family, we longevity when it comes to marriage. You get in there, you get it. It's work. So you go to work with it. Don't think that every day is gonna be all I'm he and I'm in love, because like you said, it's intentional. It's not. It's a choice, and you have to decide every day that I'm going to continue to work at this, because you may wake up one morning and decide I don't want to do this anymore, but you have to work through those feelings, because your feelings are going to change.
No. Feelings are definitely going to change. Feelings are fickle, and we have to understand that we can't live our life based on our feelings, because there's not facts inside of feelings. So feelings is what that is a note to yourself, not to anybody else. That's how you feel.
Right.
And so we have to make sure we understand that. And so I love this conversation that we have here on Toxic is the New Masculinity. And so I always ask the ladies this before we get out of here. Did you feel heard?
Oh, definitely.
Were you comfortable up here sitting with a? But I know you got your bodyguard here, but
oh yes, I felt comfortable.
Okay, all right. Is masculinity toxic to you?
No, I don't think.
You heard it.
There you go. We always tell you.
Yeah.
We got to let you guys know that just because we have a mindset that is steeped in masculinity does not mean that it's toxic. So we just take the name of the show, Toxic is the New Masculinity, because that's the name they wanted to give to us. But we're gonna let you know that that's not it. So with that being said, thank you to our special guests, Candace and Earl, for coming in and sitting in. Shout out to my man KY here to the left. And I got my man Bossy. And before we get out of here, we got a gift for you guys. So you guys are the recipient of some Toxic is the New Masculinity t-shirts.
Thank you.
So y'all can hold those up, let everybody know that y'all survived the Toxic podcast.
Get your social media, tag, send it your friends, get a link.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All right. It was a pleasure having y'all. Y'all great guests.
Absolutely. So understand, if you're in a relationship, honesty, conversation, communication, effective communication is the best way to go. And we'll see you guys here on the next edition of Toxic is the New Masculinity.